So for the past few months now, I've gotten pretty serious about using AI to bring my worlds to life, to tell stories, and for the most part, most of the experience has been pretty positive. But there seems to be one particular issue that a lot of AI content creators deal with, and that is this constant problem where these traditional artists just cannot help themselves and feel compelled to, go into our comments and just immediately type things like AI slop. This is not real art. Blah, 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 blah. And while I pride myself in being someone who is not confrontational at all, someone that just turns the other cheek, someone that is typically of the mindset of, hey, you do your thing and I do mine, there comes a point where you kind of get tired of it. When you put your heart, your soul, and some real effort into providing really heartfelt and solid content that means a lot to you as an independent, creative artist, and whether that's with, using AI, whether that's drawing, whether that's, music, whether that's, using Photoshop or Premiere Pro, when you put your heart and soul into something, and you put it out there into the world, and, you just constantly get people bashing it all the time, it starts to get a little old and kind of annoying. And while I do agree that AI slop is a thing, I don't believe that term can apply to people who put genuine effort into their projects using AI. And that's something we're going to get into today, because as I was scrolling through my social media the other day, I came across a video in which this gentleman here did a really, really good job in, breaking down this whole beef and drama between traditional artists and AI artists. And so I wanted to do a reaction video to this to pretty much just share my point of view on the situation. I normally don't like doing long format videos because, again, in case you're new to the channel, I suffer from Tourette's, and whenever I film a long video like this and the tics are kicking in a lot, it takes a long time for me to edit the footage and get everything out of there that I don't want to be in there. So I really don't typically like doing long format videos like this. But in this case, I decided to make an exception because this is a big hobby of mine. AI has been a big conduit for me to finally be able to bring my stories, my worlds, my characters to life. Stories that I've had locked in my brain for years now. And so I'm going to continue to use AI for quite some time. And so, and obviously these people don't have a problem spewing their nonsense and their opinions on my videos. So I figured I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put my thoughts, comments, and concerns out there once and for all, and then just put it all behind me so then I can focus on moving forward with everything that I'm doing with AI. So as always, before we get started, again, if you are new to the channel, just a bit of a heads up, I am a disabled Army veteran and I do suffer from Tourette's. Also, if you like this kind of content, please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. That being said, let's get into it. So this video is entitled "The Case Against Hating AI Slop." I'll go ahead and I'll put a link to this video at the and in the comment section so you guys can go ahead and check it out if you want. OpenArt is an amazing freaking website. I use it a lot for all of my AI content. It's one of those like one-stop and shop, kind of websites for like all your AI needs. I'll put a link to them as well so you guys can check them out as well. But that being said, yeah, let's go ahead and let's get into it. As we get into it, like I said, if I see or hear anything that I kind of want to comment on, I'll just pause it and we'll kind of just go from there. But here we go.
AI slop is low-effort, meaningless content generated quickly by AI with no artistic intent, taste, or purpose.
And again, if you guys see me twitching or making weird sound effects, again, I apologize for that in advance. I can't control it. It's the tics, so whatever. If you don't like it, go away. Woo! Woo! Woo!
Slop. Slop. Slop.
Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Slop. Stop.
What do you think about the AI slop?
That term gets on my nerves so badly.
Enough!
What?
Save your questions, will ya? I'm about to start the conference. Grease!
Jeez! Huh. Ah!
Look, I really don't have the time, or frankly, the desire to be here. This whole AI slop controversy is ridiculous.
It really
Our
is.
official statement is, as it's always been, slop is survival. For us, it is food. For those who create what the cynics are calling slop, is an effort to communicate something inside of someone, whatever it may be.
Yep.
For without the ability to self-express, we begin slowly killing off who we really are, until we are simply a shell of conformity who bowed to the limited thinking and self-righteous so-called artists who deem themselves worthy of judging what creativity and self-expression are
Yeah.
to everyone on the planet.
Exactly.
Although we have nothing more to add officially, I will at least take a couple of questions. And remember, there are no stupid questions. Okay, Roger.
Roger.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. What do you tell all the musicians and the artists who've spent years developing their craft and taking the time and sacrificing so much for their art and for their ability, when now someone can just have a vague idea type of prompt and suddenly there's art?
Yeah. You know why that is?
Why?
Why?
They had no other choice. Look, if you, as a kid, wanted to create art and you had an option of taking years to get good at it, or learn how to sharpen your creative skills for a new era that allows you to express your creativity immediately, rather than waiting years,
Yeah.
being put down and doubted, or otherwise potentially derailed from expressing their creativity. Guess what? They're going to take the easy and fast way.
Yeah.
AI slop, as you insist on calling it, is the beginning of a creative evolutionary process.
And it's an evolutionary process that has been the same evolutionary process since the beginning of all creative time, except that now we can realize our visions a lot faster. Well,
You know, and I mean, that's honestly, that's really what it's all about for me, really. I mean, a big, you know, the big reason why, again, I feel like a lot of people turn to AI, you know, when it comes to like their freaking creative works, is because, again, it's faster. You know, it's not about working harder. It's not about really, you know, it's really more about freaking working smarter. You know, if you can pump out, you know, this idea, this character, this story that you have in your head, and you can do so by doing it I'm just going to say it as it is, the old-fashioned way, and, you know, draw it or animate it or this, that, and the other, and you can have it made, you know, and have it take you years to get it done, and not to mention a whole lot of money at the same time. Would you rather take all these years and all this time to get it done, or would you rather save a whole hell of a lot of money and get it done so much faster? Like, I mean, that's just one of the big reasons why I feel a lot of people turn to AI to get their stuff done. I mean, it's really one of the big selling points is that it's fast. It's faster. We only get one life to live. You know, we don't know when we're going to be able to punch our ticket and go home. And a lot of us just want to be able to just see our ideas and see our characters and see our stories brought to life before we pass on. And so if we have a chance to do that with AI, which saves us money and gets the product done a whole hell of a lot faster, why in the world would we go about it the old-fashioned way and pay hundreds upon thousands of dollars to, you know, get one project done, or take years upon years upon years to learn how to draw one single character, and then just take forever to produce the same exact project? Like it just doesn't freaking make sense. Take years or take a few weeks or a few months to get it done. Come on, you guys. Like, seriously.
Welcome back to the channel where we delve deeply into the use of creative AI. And today I'm going to address a subject that is not without its controversy, and that is this concept of AI slop. Now, before we go any further, we got to get clear on what is the definition of AI slop that I am using, because there are several. First, let me tell you what I am not talking about. I don't consider it AI slop just because someone doesn't like it. Because that's a matter of taste, and it has nothing to do with whether or not it's AI. They just don't like weird stuff, silly stuff, or they just don't like it. Today, I'm talking about the definition that offends me the most, not only as an AI enthusiast, but also as a creative artist in many different modalities for many years who loves and embraces the technology. It's the premise that AI slop is low effort, meaningless content generated quickly by AI with no artistic intent, taste, or purpose. I'm going to address the elephant in the room about what's wrong with that statement right off the bat. And that is, nobody can determine the creative intent or purpose of another person.
Exactly. You don't get to freaking tell me what is art and what's not art. Because at the end of the day, look, art is subjective. I said this in one of my other freaking videos on my TikTok. When you look at the definition of art, it doesn't specifically say that freaking it has to be drawn, it has to be this, it has to be that. No, art is subjective. It's an expression, all right? I mean, I've seen, you know, people, like, I've gone to art exhibits where I've seen a stick just in the exhibit. Art. Now, I've seen paintings and murals of people just, where it looked like they literally just opened a paint bucket and just splashed on there. Art. Like, I mean, you don't get to dictate to somebody else what's art and what's not art just because you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and to his point, like, okay, like what I said earlier, do I think that there is AI slop? Yes. What I consider to be AI slop is what a lot of these traditional artists think that all of us do. You type a prompt, you hit enter, boom, done. That's it. That to me, I would consider AI slop, because that's literally, you're not putting any effort into it. You're literally just typing something and boom, you're just sticking with the final result. But that's not what so many of us do. So many of us are using AI as literally just one aspect of a bigger project and a bigger, you know, a bigger story that we're trying to tell. I see using AI as kind of like making a movie. Right? You have yourself, the creative artist, you're the director, right? The AI, that's the camera, right? The characters in your, the characters in the story, those are your actors and your actresses, and then the prompt is the script. You as a director, you give the script to your characters, and then you execute action, and then boom, you have one little clip. But just like when you're making a movie, you don't stick with just that one clip. You go and you make several different clips and quite frankly spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and in many cases a lot of money to get all the clips that you need to then put together. Then put music, then put sound effects, then, you know, edit it, put your intros, put your outros. That's work. You're not going to tell me that that is not art, because you're genuinely taking time and effort to make something. That, by definition, is pretty much art. So, do I think AI slop is a thing? Yeah, I mean, obviously, these stupid videos that people make where they just type something out, pop, done. Yeah, that could be considered AI slop. But when you see something that is clearly different, something that actually was made with time and effort and energy, you cannot sit here and tell me that that is AI slop. When somebody clearly is putting the time, the effort, the energy, and the work into producing something decent, just because it's used with AI does not mean it's not art. Like, come on, people.
because they don't like it, or they think that they just typed a prompt and spit it out.
Right.
There's no way they can know a person's specific intent.
Right.
But I would like to submit to you that there is a general intent of everyone who types a prompt in AI, whether it's for music or video or images.
Yes.
And that is, they want to express an idea that is in them. Remember this guy from the pig sketch?
Yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to freaking touch on too, is that a lot of comments that I get a lot too is, oh, you didn't make this, the freaking AI made it. Like, okay, like the freaking AI just woke up one morning and decided to, just go ahead and make a bunch of clips of, my D&D campaign. Like, the AI, like, AI is just a tool. It doesn't do anything by itself any different than a paintbrush paints something by itself, any different than a camera takes a picture by itself. It's a tool that, again, is meant to be used together with the human to make something. Everything that everybody has produced with AI always starts with something that's right up here. So for these people to say that you didn't make it, it literally, figuratively, in every sense of the word, does not make any freaking sense. The AI doesn't do anything on its own. It might do the majority of the work, but again, at the end of the day, it's not going to be able to do everything on its own. It needs a human to work with it so that it can do something and produce something. So, yeah, everything that somebody makes with AI, I would specifically the freaking good projects that people make, everything that is made with AI in that category always has some sort of intent behind it. So you can't say that this whole argument of, oh, you didn't make it just because the computer did it. Again, well, I mean, do you bitch and complain when a camera takes a picture? Because technically you didn't take that picture, the camera did. It's quite literally the exact same argument. Literally makes no sense.
Now someone can just have a vague idea, type a prompt, and suddenly there's art.
He was criticizing the fact that they started with a vague idea, typed a prompt, and then there's art. Well, all creativity first starts with a vague idea.
Mm-hmm.
And up to this point, there has been other steps one needed to take to realize that vision. If it's a piece of art, they need to draw, paint, or sculpt it. If they want to write or compose music, they need to learn and study an instrument. Just like if they want to become a singer, they should probably study singing. All of these are traditionally accepted practices that we have been doing as human beings for hundreds, dare I say thousands of years.
And for the record, if that's still your preferred method of producing art, by all means, go ahead and do so. Like, no, I don't think anybody here is, for the most part, I would argue most people within the AI community don't care. We don't care about what traditional artists do. If you want to go ahead and still continue to paint and draw and take pictures and do your thing, go do your thing. None of us really go out of our way to bother y'all. But, somehow you think it's okay to come after us because we choose to do it in a completely different manner. Like, come on, you guys. Nobody has a freaking problem with, how you guys want to continue doing things. If that's still your preferred method for producing art, by all means, go on ahead. Because, look, there's still going to be a demand and a market for all these traditional art practices. Just like when the camera came around, the camera did not kill painting, right? Digital art did not kill painting, right? And it's the same thing with AI. AI, might be a faster way to freaking get some creative work done, but it doesn't mean it's going to freaking replace traditional art. So if this is still, just like any other freaking, piece of art that has come out, hasn't replaced any sort of art. It might mean that things might get a little bit more competitive down the road, but it doesn't mean that it's going to replace it completely. There's always going to be a market for hand painting. There's always going to be a market for digital painting. There's always going to be a market for photographers. There's always going to be a market, for all these forms of traditional art. No one is saying that you guys have to stop using this form of art that he's talking about. If that's what you want to do, by all means, go ahead and do so. It might be a little bit more competitive, but it's still going to be out there. So, again, there's literally no reason for you guys to be bashing when really I think, you guys are just legitimately overreacting for no freaking reason. But then again, this has always been the story when new freaking technology comes around. Every time there's a new technology that comes around that revolutionizes everything, Yeah, there's always a community of people that want to freak out and blow a gasket and act like it's going to be the end of the world, and obviously that's not what happens. More often than not, it's that some jobs get replaced, but newer jobs come around to replace those old jobs. So it's really not that big of a deal.
And although the pig may have made some exaggerated statements, we need to get real about what drives us as creators and what got us interested in the things that we're creating in the first place. I, like many of you, have many different creative interests. When I first started getting interested in music, do I wish I could sit down and play the piano right away and translate whatever I was hearing in my head into music that people could hear? Hell yes, I wished I could have done that, but I had no choice but to spend years learning it.
Right.
And as a young teenager, when I was doing stop motion animation, interested in
I used to do that too.
do I wish I could have just said, hey everybody, look at my idea. That's not to take away from the fun and the experience of getting hands-on. That's all we knew. That's
Right.
all we had.
Right.
And what we've done over the course of the years is added so much value to that learning experience that we completely devalue being able to express that same idea without that learning experience.
Yeah.
But people who have never created things in the traditional way now have tools that will allow them to realize their creative vision way faster than anybody in history has ever been able to do before. And what I'm finding...
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think, again, people devalue just how helpful this stuff is. I mean, the whole reason why a lot of people turn to AI, again, is because not all of us are gifted in, the department of drawing, or not all of us have, the money to, hire and pay someone to, do all this stuff for us. Again, that's one of the biggest selling points of AI, not just because it's faster, like I said earlier, but because it's legitimately helpful, like he was saying before. Like in my personal case, I grew up and I had so many freaking ideas and so many stories and so many things I wanted to freaking bring to life, but I was never ever really able to do so because, quite frankly, I suck at drawing. I still suck at drawing, even though I'm going to school and I'm pursuing my associate's degree in multimedia and I've taken some drawing classes. I still suck, and it's not because I didn't try. I legitimately tried for a grand portion of my life to learn how to draw, but I just was not freaking good at it. And then life took over and I got older and I got married and I had kids and all this other stuff came around, and I just don't have the kind of time to devote every single day to practice learning how to draw. Would I have liked to have had that opportunity to do that? Sure, yes, absolutely. But looking at the kind of technology we have right now, knowing that I can produce all these ideas and all these stories and everything that I've had in my mind for years now, and I can do it that much faster without having to freaking take the super duper long way, why would I want to go backwards and work harder when I can go about it smarter and get it done so much quicker? Again, the goal is for me to push out my story. I have all these different avenues of approach for how to do it. For some people, they prefer to do it digitally. For some people, they prefer to draw. And for other people, they just want to freaking see their thing done quickly and not take forever. Whatever you choose, however you choose to bring your story to life, it should be your prerogative. And you shouldn't be freaking faulted for it, or you shouldn't be ridiculed for it just because you choose to do so using AI because you're not gifted with a pencil, or because you don't have the money to pay someone to bring your art to life for you. And on that note, I think it's also super hypocritical how they say, oh, well, your art is not yours because you didn't make it. Well, if I pay someone to make my art for me, does that mean that it's still mine? Because technically I didn't do it, I paid someone to do it for me. So, again, none of this makes any sense.
Is that a large part of the creative community is condemning this practice because it negates all of the work and effort that they put into learning their craft.
No.
We have people all over the world judging someone else's creative self-expression. And let's just look at 18 seconds of what some people might call AI slop.
50 cents for an hour of liberty. This isn't regulation, it's tyranny.
We're on schedule. The fish are cold.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus.
At its core, the criticism of AI slop is the criticism of some individual's creative expression. You may not agree with it, you may not understand it, you may think it's useless, but to them it was something inside them that has maybe been in there for freaking years.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted to see a bunch of guys carry fish through the desert. We can't judge them for that. It's the beginning of an idea. It's
Right.
the seed. And if allowed to cultivate, those seeds that look random and maybe stupid or even offensive can grow into ideas that actually have meaning, that people put more work into, and that even someone like the critics can appreciate. But many people with a lot of creativity to express never get to start or finish their creative journey. And it could be a million reasons. It
Yeah.
could be their environment, it could be their financial means.
Right.
Or, most importantly and devastating, is years of self-doubt about their ability because of either feedback from people close to them or society about what art really is
Yeah.
and what's good and bad.
It's
This
sad.
stifles the creative expression of most people in the planet in the way they want to express it. And this, I believe, not to sound too grandiose, is the root of many of today's problems. As the pig said,
For without the ability to self-express, we begin slowly killing off who we really are, until we are simply a shell of conformity.
which means we live an inauthentic life with unexpressed creativity. But now here comes AI, which allows anyone to share what's in them and actually see it manifest before them. And now this opens up an entirely new world of possibility for them if they've wanted to share what's inside them and had no way to do it before.
Yeah.
The challenge they're up against now is everybody judging them for using these tools. People who have dared
Yep.
to share their creativity have always opened themselves up for criticism.
Right.
And it's just the price they pay for putting themselves out there. But a lot of those people have built up that skin over years and years and years. Now people are sharing their creative expression because it's so easy to the world, and they're opening themselves up for criticism that they are not prepared for. So here come all the artists and musicians telling them that what they're doing is crap and it's a waste of time and it's a waste of resources and
Yep.
you're not a real artist and you're a loser and you're part of the problem.
Yep.
And it may solidify everything they were told as a kid growing up about their desire to express themselves creatively. And so they just go back to living that manufactured version of themselves that will never fully express who they are to be in this world.
Yeah.
It is the way of humanity to make things simpler. It's just that this particular leap would
Say it louder. Hold up. Say it louder for the people in the back. Say that line one more time.
their desire to express themselves creatively. And so they just go back to living that
line about
version of themselves
simpler.
that will never fully express who they are to be in this world. It is the way of humanity to make things simpler.
If you guys don't take anything else from this video, I want you guys to really let that sink in. It is the way of humanity to make things simpler. I don't think you can, if there was one phrase to summarize this whole thing, that would probably be the one. As long as we have been around, as long as humanity has been a thing, our way of life has always been to find a way to make work and life significantly easier. That has always been what we have done. We went from driving horse carriages to driving cars. We went from sailing boats to flying planes. We went from sending letters to being able to use the phone to talk to somebody across the other side of the freaking world. It's technology. That's what happens. History has always shown that every industry evolves with newer technology, whether you like it or not. And it's the same thing with art. We went from cavemen drawing on walls to people painting on murals to taking pictures to using digital cameras to using digital paint, digital art, to now AI. It's just the nature of the world. It's always been in our DNA to find a way to work smarter, not harder. And does new technology mean that some jobs go away? Yes, unfortunately, that is a reality. But the usual pattern is that if one job gets replaced, if one job goes away, another one typically comes in to replace it. I remember in the early 2000s when we in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we used to have those little when we used to have those old school cameras where you had to hold it like this, and then you had to go G G G G G. I don't know if you guys remember those, but you had to literally turn the knob like this, G G G, then aim it to take a picture, and you had to. It gave you, I think, like maybe like 25 pictures, and then when you were done, you had to take that little roll, physically go down to a store, turn it in to somebody that worked in a physical shop to, I don't know what the terminology is, but whatever they do to, to render the photos. But only for you to come in days or a week later for them to finally be like, hey, here's all your pictures. And then you have a stack of freaking photos to put in your photo album. I remember when we went from that to, in the early 2000s, all of a sudden having digital cameras. So instead of click, 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 go to the store, boom, wait, days, weeks, okay, boom, got my pictures, yay. Instead of that, it was click, there's the picture. Like, it's a perfect example of, again, smarter, not harder. And yes, when that happened, when digital cameras became a thing, yes, those little physical like shops that you had to go to turn in a camera roll and have it, be digital, be processed and everything, did those go away? Yeah, yeah, they went away, they disappeared, they weren't in business anymore. But then digital cameras came to replace them. So maybe instead of having those shops, now you had, shops that sold digital cameras, or you had, people that were taught and trained on how to fix digital cameras. It's just the way of the world. One old obsolete technology goes out of date, another one comes to replace it. Same thing with VCRs, same thing with DVDs, same thing with streaming, same thing with Walkmans, same thing with CD players. Now it's the same thing with downloading digital music. That's just how the world works. Oh, but when these things happen, right, it's a marvel of technology. Oh, this will make life so much easier. The internet comes around, this, that, and the other. This will make life so much easier. But then when it comes to art, the computer helps me pump out my project faster. Oh, no, that's not art. We can't have that. Like, make up your minds, you guys. Like, at the end of the day, again, it is, like he said, it is our way in life to naturally find ways to do things faster, to find ways to make work and life easier, not harder. You don't have to like it. No one's saying you have to like it. But don't go after people because we're choosing to embrace the future and you're not. It's just that simple.
It's just that this particular leap was so freaking exponential and stepped on so many toes and has so many implications that a large majority of the population thinks they are about to lose everything they ever built in their life is going nuts.
Right.
If we're going with the definition that AI slop was just thrown together with no intent or purpose, I think we can be in agreement that the opening to this video was not AI slop. You may not have agreed with it, you may have thought it was heavy-handed, but it's not AI slop, at least by our definition.
Right.
None of that would have happened if I hadn't started playing with AI slops. So I want to, as quickly as possible, just walk you through the brainstorming process that AI slop is. Just using some of the tools over on the OpenArt site to combine images, combine videos, and just say, do some stuff. So here in my library, I was just playing with ideas.
All right, so here he kind of just goes over like his process here of like kind of what he did. If you guys want to see that later on your own, you guys can go ahead and do that. But I mean, he basically like just kind of goes over his process here of specifically what he did, generating all these different videos so that in the end he came out with the product that he came out with, which was the intro video. So that basically like basically I feel like his point was like the pics individually, the images, the videos individually may have been considered AI slop because they seem random and stuff in nature, but clearly when you put everything together, again, effort and time and energy to create something that's clearly not AI slop. It's clearly a finished product with thought and intent behind it, which is what art is. So, yeah. let's go ahead and finish this
AI
up.
can now build a website in
Nice.
90 seconds, while the only AI most people
Time
over
out.
40 know is ChatGPT.
Whatever.
Process, I'm learning tools and techniques that I can bring into future projects.
Yeah, and he's learning
that have
along the
a
way.
more deliberate purpose.
Right.
AI Slop is a totally legitimate way to learn and practice. Whether or not it is liked by the general population is truly not my problem.
Right.
Images like this,
Right.
which you may or may not
Right.
have any interest in.
And that's another simple thing about it. Is like, look, you don't have to like it, but you don't gotta be an asshole about it either. Like, you don't have, like, you don't like it, and this is the other thing that really pisses me off. Like, people, let me move out of this thing, because that picture looks kind of weird.
Would have not been possible
One
for
second.
me or just about anybody else before this technology came along. You may not think there's any reason to have images like this, and yet there is years of film and cinema with distorted images and body horror and all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's true,
It's very
too.
expensive or complicated to
Yep.
create, and now anyone with a commitment can learn to create content that can actually be consumed by others. Now, what?
Yeah, so to to go back to his point, it's like, yeah, you don't have to like it, but you don't gotta be a freaking asshole about it either, and go out of your way to be a jerk, to be a dick, to be a bitch, excuse my language, in the comments, and be like, AI slop, you know, say all this freaking nasty, disrespectful stuff, because look, at the end of the day, you're not changing a damn thing. You can vent and scream and shout AI slop all you want, but at the end of the day, has it stopped people from using AI? No. So you guys, in all honesty, are wasting your damn time by going into people's comments and blowing their freaking, you know, comments up. And really, if you think about it, you're kind of doing the opposite in that you apparently want to silence, you know, AI, but by commenting on people's AI videos, it actually boosts their algorithm. So in a way, it's like kind of like you're helping their videos get more exposure. So in reality, in practice, if you don't want to push AI content, the smarter thing to do would be to just drink a glass of shut the hell up and not say anything. Maybe block the video or swipe away or immediately, or just don't watch it. You don't have to watch it, you don't have to like it, but going out of your way to comment on somebody's freaking video and say how it's trash, you know, this, that, and the other, that's not changing a damn thing. People are still going to keep using AI. They're still going to keep putting their content out there. So you're not doing a damn thing but making yourselves look stupid by gatekeeping and just looking like a freaking, quite frankly, like a whiny bitch. Like, seriously, just shut the hell up. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I'm 40 years old. I don't believe in wasting my time anymore. But if you're the kind of person that wants to go out of your way and type AI slop on someone's comment just to achieve not a damn thing, whatever, that's on you. But just know, if you do it on mine, I'm just automatically deleting and blocking you, because I don't got time for that.
Whether or not it is accepted or liked or lasts or stands the test of time is ultimately up to the quality of what you create.
And that's the other thing, actually, that he noted too, that, you know, I think is ironic too, is that, you know, there's so much, like he said, there's so much slop that's been put out in cinema, in games, in so many other forms of entertainment, and somehow that gets a pass. You know, people have made slop with, you know, like that picture that we showed earlier. Somebody has made video slop like that. They've made, you know, video game slop like that, and using, you know, digital media, using digital art, you know, this, that, and the other. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody freaking says anything. But the moment something is, the same thing is done with a machine, somehow it's wrong. You guys be complaining about nothing. Like, for real, when you really break it down, I sincerely hope that people, when they watch this video, they'll seriously see how all their complaining literally makes no freaking sense.
Just because you can create something doesn't mean it's going to be good. No one's telling you that AI slop is supposed to be loved by all the world. But the fact of the matter is, creative AI is here to stay.
It is.
And as staggering as the implications are, this is the new way. As a creator, it's the most exciting time of my life. And I just get so bummed out when I see people disparage other people from playing with this technology just because that's not how they learn to express themselves.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this message will reach creators who, like myself, have a message that they want to get out and have perhaps for years, whether it's music or whether it's a character you've created or whether it's an idea for a movie. Whatever it is, now you have the ability to at least explore it further. So don't let the haters get you down. Have fun exploring your creativity. And if you're bold enough to share it in today's AI environment, environment, more power to you.
Amen.
If creative AI is your jam and you like to stay up on the latest trends and the newest models and all the fun tech, you might want to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we,
Yeah, subscribe to the channel. OpenArt, they're very cool.
like you, are passionate about AI storytelling, and we want to help you in whatever way we can. We'll see you next time. Hey,
And
I'm sorry.
oh shit, my
Where
bad.
are we going again? I'm taking.
And that about honestly, summarizes it. I mean, I really, at this point, I really don't know what else there is to say. Like, look, it's my story. It's my story. It's my story. It's my world. It's my character. These are my characters. If I choose to use AI to bring my stuff to life because I can't draw, because I don't have time to learn how to draw because it takes forever, because I don't have money to freaking pay someone hundreds upon thousands of dollars to bring all my ideas and all my stories and all my characters to life. If I choose to bring my art to life using AI because it's faster, because it's not as expensive, and it gives me a way to see my worlds and my stories and my characters brought to life. If I can do that, then I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and I choose to share it with the world because I know that there are people out there that can clearly appreciate good, fine entertainment regardless of whatever form it comes in. Because at the end of the day, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell a story based off of life lessons that I've learned that I'm trying to share with the world in an entertaining way. And so for me to do all that and put my stuff out there just to be, like you said, disparaged because some people don't believe, some people just don't like AI, it's just beyond immature, in my opinion. Again, at the end of the day, no one's saying that you have to like AI. No one's saying that you have to start using AI. Nobody is freaking saying anything. If you want to continue to go about things the traditional way, go ahead and do your thing. More power to you. Alright? But everybody else who chooses to do things, who chooses to work smarter, not harder, and everybody that chooses to bring their art to life the way they choose to do so, leave them alone, man. You don't have to like it, but you don't have to go out of your way to be a dick either. You're not achieving anything by going out of your way by harassing people. Clearly, people are still going to use it. They've still been continuing to use it. So if I were y'all, I would find a much more productive way of how to use your time. Because what y'all are doing right now with all the gatekeeping and all the witch hunts and stuff, that's not changing anything and it's not helping your freaking case. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and finally put my 2 cents out there because again, I'm tired of putting my videos out there and just getting people like all up in my comments, just saying all this freaking disrespectful stuff. Even though most people seem to like my videos and they share my videos and this, that, and the other, still every once in a while I'll get a comment here and I'll get a comment there, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there once and for all, and after this I'm not going to bother to address it anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing my thing. And if you happen to come across this video, I hope that maybe by watching this video, by watching this gentleman's commentary, and hopefully by hearing my thoughts and my 2 cents as well, hopefully if you're a hater, maybe my honest and sincere hope and goal is not to convince you to use AI, but maybe it's to make you see things from our perspective, so that maybe if you don't agree still, you'll at least have some form of decency and respect enough to be like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna leave it alone. I hope you learned something from this, but just know moving forward that again, I'm not gonna bother arguing with you guys anymore. If I see one single negative comment about AI, I'm not even gonna bother fighting with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna straight up delete your comment and just block it and move on. Because whether you guys want to or not, I'm gonna continue doing my thing. I've waited long enough to see my worlds, my stories, and my characters brought to life, and you have no right whatsoever to freaking tell me and all the other AI content creators out there how they can choose to bring their worlds to life. You have literally no right to freaking tell people how they can and cannot produce their art, and we're going to continue to do it whether you guys approve or not, or whether you guys like it or not. This was your boy Paladin Hotshot signing off for the day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this particular topic. Again, if you guys happen to like this content, feel free to comment, share, like, and subscribe, and be on the lookout because I'm doing some big things on my channel. I'm going to be dropping an anime series here pretty soon, so stick around, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay blessed.